Good morning, everybody. It's Eddie Buchanan coming to you live from the Symposium in the Sun for the BCOS 2023 conference. We're in Clearwater Beach, Florida. Kicking off this morning, obviously, with a tribute to our veterans. So that was one of the things that happened in the main program first thing. Had a great tribute. And here in just a few minutes, my pal Shane Ray is getting ready to take the stage for a keynote talk. And you're currently the president of the National Fire Sprinkler Association, right?
That's correct.
But I have known Shane for probably, 20 years at least.
Yeah.
And we've worked together with the ISFSI. I was talking to Tim Sindelback yesterday, and appreciating all the work that you, Miss Vicki, and Tim did to, with that organization to keep it going. And since then, now Shane's working with the National Fire Sprinkler Association. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing there and what we're going to talk about here in a minute.
Well, Chief, there's so much going on out there in our country. The changing fire environment, which we worked on a long time ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hit it hard from the yard. It's like, it didn't make us a less aggressive firefighter, right? It made us much more aggressive. I would tell anybody today, I'm much more aggressive now than I've ever been. You know why? I have more knowledge and information. We know more about the fire. We know more about how we should fight it. And now what I'm going to talk about is you combine things that we haven't talked about in a long time, and that's the fire suppression systems of the building. Mm-hmm. I'm like, the people that built this building spent millions of dollars in some cases, especially in these giant big box warehouse distribution centers or your Walmarts, your Home Depots, your Lowe's, all of your big box stores. It's like these people spent millions of dollars to protect the property, and guess what? To protect us. To protect us, we put it in the code. Over the last 30 years, there's been a 70% increase in the number of occupancies that's required to have fixed fire protection systems in it. People say the word fire sprinklers and you get wrapped around the axle.
Right.
And it's like, there's all kinds of components that go with our fixed fire protection systems. I was blessed to work in a system that required me to be an inspector.
Okay.
As a company officer, ride the right front seat of the fire truck for 20-something years, I had to be an inspector. It made me a much better tactician to know the fire protection features of this building.
Right.
And with that, it's like we had to know and we had to enforce. We'd turn it over to the fire marshal if it had to be enforced, but we knew our buildings.
Yeah.
And that's where today, unfortunately, I see, and it's been a topic here at BCOS, it's like, we're doing EMS, we're doing all these other things that was not original to our mission. And it's overwhelming our systems in some cases. Mm-hmm. Yesterday the talk was about EMS. I'm like, the chief there from St. Louis Park, Minnesota talked about, hey, there's a public health crisis and we're trying to solve it as EMS. It's not an emergency medical crisis. Right. It's a public health service. Well, as a result of that, the buildings and things have passed us by. Not anything we could do about it other than to say, how are we going to handle it? And that's what I'm going to talk about today, is that says you got to know these fixed fire protection systems in the building. The people spent millions of dollars on them, and the last thing you want to do is for us to screw that up. But we got to be patient. My message today is going to be patient, let the system work, get your resources ready. It's going to be a long haul. As I say, there's no fire department in America that pulls up on a fire and says, oh, let's wait a couple hours and see how she does. But those buildings, folks, are designed, especially in those mega warehouses, those systems are designed to run 2 hours with or without the intervention of the fire department. And it's like, it's going to take a long time to get into that. And my thing is, in those big over 1 million square foot buildings, there's no fire department in America with the capabilities to go overhaul that thing.
Right.
Just can't do it. It's going to take big equipment. It's going to take all these other things. But the fire suppression system in there is designed to contain that to the area where it starts.
I recall a fire department actually, I forgot which state, somewhere in the middle of the country, they had an issue where they had a big warehouse fire, and their interaction with the suppression systems actually made things worse because they didn't understand what they were working with.
That's been happening for years.
Yeah.
We have lots, and I'm going to show examples of fires all the way back to 2017. that says that, if we turn the system off thinking we're going to get this, we're not.
Right.
We need water from the top, we need water from the ground, and that's why our whole message is partners in progress. It's like it takes us both to contain this. We need lines from the ground, but my other message is whether you're in your big box store or whether it's in a mega warehouse, do not get between those racks.
Right.
None of that's been tested. And these systems will flow 2,000 gallons of water a minute, plus in some cases. And it's like, so when you figure that this thing is flowing that much volume of water, I'm going to show some video where we recently tested. We flowed 6 of those ESFR, early suppression fast response sprinklers. Just 6. Most systems are designed to flow 9, 12, 14 of those sprinklers. Each of them flowing 200 plus gallons of water a minute. And it's like, that's a massive amount of water that creates a lot of weight. But that's what the system's designed for. And then we need to pull up and hook up. There's so many of these buildings we've burned down because we did not hook up to the fire department connection.
Right.
For whatever reason, there was an outage in the building. They're expanding the store. They're expanding a space. They're maintaining the system. And that system's turned off. If that system's turned off in those biggest stores, there's other systems beside of it. Mm-hmm. Right? A system will typically cover 46,000 square feet in those big buildings. So when you have an average Walmart store that's 150 plus thousand square feet, it has multiple systems. And you need to know that, but the one pump in pumps them all. And so that's where pump it, support it, know what to do. Pump it, they say, what do you pump it at? 150 PSI. Unless there's a big sign on the building that tells you otherwise. We see that a lot downtown. You go to your downtown cities, look around, you'll see, pump this at 175, pump this at 205, pump. Mm-hmm. It's like, unless there's a sign telling you to do different, the number is 150. That's what these systems have been designed for years and years and years. And then too, know that some of them are combination system. That's what we're going to burn our valve trailer out here today.
Right.
And it's got multiple systems in it. It's got standpipes in the back with pressure reducing valves, with not pressure reducing valves, it's got everything you need that you're going to find in these buildings. And we need the fire departments to understand, if the sprinkler's flowing and you pump the system, it's also pumping your lines. But if you're stealing from the system, you're stealing from that sprinkler as well. And you got to know that what kind of nozzle you use, how much hose, what's the friction loss. And you need a gauge in the stairwell so you can see that, because that's where you gate back. I had a department recently that said, no, we pump the systems at 110. I'm like, where'd you get that number? Well, we calculated our hose. I'm like, well, that's fantastic, but you pump it at 150 and you control it to 110 in the stairwell.
Right.
And they're like, we didn't know that. And I'm like, right, because we haven't typically done that kind of training. But that's where we're working with the state fire training directors. We're working with the state fire marshals, trying to get that information out there to the fire department so that we do know how to interact and there's not lawsuits and blame. It makes us all look bad when we burn down a building that's fully protected with a fully capable fire department. And that's what we're trying to stop.
You're expected to be proficient in those skills. I mean, that's what's expected of you from the community perspective. So
yeah. And when we find fire departments out there that's like, I don't trust it. It's like, why don't you trust it? It's been designed, installed, maintained. That's what NFPA 25, it's what our codes and standards are. It's like, we got to get over this. I'm operations, that's prevention. It's like, no, the community, we're the fire department, and we're supposed to be able to protect their lives and their property and our lives.
And Shane's as he mentioned, there's going to be opportunities on this particular day on Friday. We have some outdoor activities, so they're actually going to be doing some live fire demonstrations out in the parking lot at the hotel here at the resort. And we also have individual coaching opportunities that happen on Friday afternoon too. So Friday's an interesting day. It's a morning of big room sessions, and then in the afternoon you have activities that you could do with various types of things. So Shane's getting ready to hit the stage. He's going to rock the house over here right next door in the main room. And we'll be back at the top of every hour this morning until the afternoon break with different guests and folks from the main stage that are here at the BCOS Symposium in the Sun. So we will see you in the next few minutes. Take care.
Thank you.